That'll do. Howdy there, boys and girls. We're going to look at a yard sale find that I got today. We're going to make it operational. Picked up a Zebco Z20, manufactured between 84 and 88, somewhere in that area, and it is on a Berkeley cherry wood. Manufactured in Taiwan. So, we're not going to get all spit and polish on it for now. We're just going to open up the reel, take a look at the internals. All the eyes are on and intact, and this is about the size rod that I would use for this reel anyway, so it's going to stay on this rod. Now, the Z20 Zebco, like I said, was manufactured between 1984 and 1988, and is basically, internally, just like the standard Zebco 202. Now, as always, as I take the parts off, I'm going to lay them out in the same order in which I removed them, because it makes putting it back together so much more easy. So there's the cap that I just took off. There is the little bolt that holds the handle on. Sawdust everywhere. And then there's the handle. Now, you can tell an old Zebco by having to take off the handle to service the reel, which I just did. And it should, and I say should, ew, it's full of hair and shit. Do you see that? Ew. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, once you get the handle off, the rest of the reel, just like I just did, should pop right out. That is nasty inside. You know what I think would make this easier? I'm actually going to take the reel off of the rod. Over here, somewhere, is the correct tool for the job. Now, I might be able to do that by finger. Yeah. I loved this design on these old reels, to take that off with your fingers, because you don't scratch anything up when you do that. Fiberglass, reinforced with nylon. Well, that sounds spiffy, and y'all can't see that because it's there. We go. We're going to set that over yonder. Tally ho. This part we're basically just going to clean. Don't need to go too in depth with it. Just a good wiping. It's fine structurally. Get some old English on that. There we go. No, I don't normally clean the reels with spit, by the way. That is not Jiggly's secret ingredient to cleaning reels. It is not spit. Just spit on it. It'll work. Alright. Couldn't get that lucky. Now we got to take this apart. See a little bit of rust in there. We're going to take a good look at it once we get... And you can use lots of tools to get this top one off. You can use I believe that's a 1/4 inch. Don't quote me on that, I'm probably wrong. Or a big wide screwdriver like what I just used. But keeping with the theme of putting everything in order, that goes there. Then our cap comes off. Ba-doop. Now, like I said, structurally inside, this is identical to a 22, which means it has a center gear, which is what just fell out with the clunk. That center spline is what makes the whole thing work. The spring is your button that lifts the reel cap, and this is what turns the reel to reel it in. That's extremely important. Do not lose that. Cool, cool, cool. The anti-reverse C-clamp does function. Oh, here, let me see if I can point that. See, there's a C in there. And then, boop, stops it. Cool. There's a C-clamp yonder that you got to take out. And this is my least favorite part of these reels. Because sometimes when you take out yonder C-clamp, it'll shoot to the moon. But the trick is to put a cloth over it like I just did. And then that way when you pop it off, you get stuck in the cloth. Boop! See? Taught you something. And then this should, oh boy, it should pop right out. Alright, yeah. Okay. We'll need to loosen up the drag before we put it. Oh boy. That could be fun. Now I need to get all this crunchy line off of here. That looks like it's too big. The side of the reel specifically says to use 10-pound test, which I bought some. Somewhere. Aha! You take a cup, put your spool in a cup, put your hand over top of it and only let a little bit of line in the corner. And you just hold that line. And that'll keep you from losing that spool. It'll keep it from getting tangled. Boop, and we're at the end of it already. Nope, but that's a hell of a knot. That's a hell of a tangle. Alright, let's fix that. There we go. Pull that there, hold my mouth like this. Alright, there we go. All better. Back to doing this. Oh, yo-ho. Plus it makes cool noises. Now, of course, before we put this back together, I'm going to take a real quick second to clean it. I'm going to inspect all the internal mechanisms. Boy, this line is just nasty. Are we at the end? Nope, but we found another big-ass tangle. Now, I don't know who owned this before, but when they were reeling in, they didn't do the little thumb thing where you hold the line to keep the line a little tight when you reel in. And, well, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does bad things. Anyway, it causes tangles inside since you're not putting any tension on it. Well, there you go. See if I can get that where you guys can see it when I pull it out. Anyway, I give up. Anyway, but yeah, it does bad things. When I go to put the new line on it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Boop, boop, boop. And you don't need to use specifically a blue cup. This is closest one I had that doesn't have something in it. Yeah. Anyway, this is the boring part of the operation here. And of course I'm not just going to leave all this on my garage floor. Now we're finally at the end. Big metal yo-yo. That is an arbor knot that's in there, which they use factory to put line on. Now of course you can tie an arbor knot after if you know how. But that means that's a possibility that was the original line from 1984 or whatever. And I didn't actually cut the knot, I broke it. Now we're going to get all this line up off my floor. There's a neighborhood cat that comes and visits me in the garage on occasion. Great big black fluffy sumbitch named Otis, missing an eye. Been in a fight with everything in the neighborhood 5 or 6 times. And that poor old cat's had one hell of a rough life, so I let him come in here and hang out with me sometimes. And to return the favor, he pisses in my garage. But, you know, such is life. But anyway, now that I've got everything apart, I'm going to take a good look at everything. Let me move the lube out of the way. This is not rust. What I was seeing and I thought was rust is actually just really old lube with sand in it. So at some point somebody has dropped this in sand and kept reeling, even though the reel would be making noise at that point, and protesting the fact that you're an idiot and dropped it in sand. Probably a kid. Don't get mad. I'm teasing. My kids have done it. I did it when I was a kid. And this is a kid's reel, so probably just kids. But just needs a little bit of a wipe out. We're good to go. So anyway, I got that all nice and shiny. Shiny! I can't sing. So we're going to use this here screwdriver like a spatula. We're going to put some lube in that. There we go. And then the next part that goes on is the central spline, this piece right here. Get it where you can see. The spring goes down. So you're going to line it up with the hole, and you're going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Boop, spring goes down. Awesome. Awesome. So this part's done down here. The next piece that goes in is the reel, or spool, sorry. And the teeth go down. The teeth go down. And you need to click it. See if I can click it where you guys can see. Click it right there. Boop, did you see it? This is your drag, this little piece right here. If you don't click it on the drag like I just did, you won't ever be able to use your reel. The next piece that goes on is the old C-clamp that I just drug through sawdust. Yes sir, this is a working man's garage. I got sawdust every damn where. Anyway, C-clamp goes on next. There's a little groove that it goes into. You just line it up with the groove, take something flat, and push it. And it'll click. Boop, just like that. Did you hear it click? I heard it click. That's good enough. Only one of us needs to hear it click. Now, some people at this point would tie the line on to the spool. I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and put the cap and everything back on, and then I'll do the line to the spool. So the cap goes next. There is only one way that it goes on. This is shaped like the letter D, as is the hole in the cap. See, it's got a flat spot there. Line them up. It'll go on. If it doesn't want to make a liar out of you. You dirty bastard. Cool. It'll go on, only goes on one way. Then the little nut that holds it on. Sweet. Just like so. Now you don't need to torque this little nut down, especially if there's a chance that you might start the line on there wrong. Ba-doop, ba-doop. And you want to raise the bail like I just did there, and that'll get you a gap. I'm going to pause while I get the line ready. Yeah, we'll do that at the end. Screw it. Don't throw off the Emperor's groove. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put this mechanism into here. The best way, there's a little doodad, gap, hole, whatever, for the wheel on your drag. You will line that up. See if I can turn it in a way that you guys can see me do it. You will line that up. You know what? Let's get this hair off before I do this. This hair is bugging the shit out of me. You have no idea how bad this hair is bugging me. Like, seriously, how are you going to have that much hair in your reel? Ew, now it stinks like burnt hair in here. Oh, that's hot. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, cool. Now that the hair's off, we will try this again. You will line up the little doodad with that little gap there. And at the same time, I don't know if you can watch what I'm doing here, I'm lining up the post that the reel attaches to, and then you're basically just going to wiggle it. And it will eventually, and I say eventually because sometimes these are stubborn, it will eventually pop right in. Boop! Like that. Cool. This piece is next. We're going to clean that a little bit. Oh, I didn't notice that before. We're bent. That's actually a really minor thing. This is pretty soft metal. So if you're any kind of manly man, like me, I'm a great big manly sumbitch. A little bit of pressure. Hold your mouth just right. Boop. Straighten that right out like it never happened. Figure the same day that it got full of sand, somebody dropped it on the handle, and that'll do it every time. Then we have this bolt that goes on. Now that bolt happens to be a 3/8, by the way, if you need to know that for Final Jeopardy. And again, you don't want to torque it down, just like that. Boop. There you go. Smooth. Oh, hell yeah. That's all she needed was a little bit of love. Little bit of love. Which one of you motherfuckers is 10? Which one of you there's 10? We're going to put some high dollar fishing line on this. We're going to use some Walmart special South Bend 10-pound test, $1.99 a spool line. Sparing no expense, you know what I mean? Alright. And I'm not going to film the whole process because it's kind of boring. I'll show you how to get started. And I'll show you the most important step of this whole operation. Are you watching? This is seriously the most important step. We're going to loogie on this, by the way. Just like that. Get some spit and elbow grease. Oh, yeah. Clean that up real nice. It's awful when it's so dirty that your spit is actually an improvement. Anyway, the most important piece of the entire operation of putting the line back on the spool is this. Coughing on it and giving it Corona. That right there. That is the most important thing. Be surprised how many times I have forgotten. Or not. Okay, now, I am not going to tie an arbor knot. I'm going to do a perfection loop, which basically what a perfection loop is you fold your line over to make a loop. You pull them together, and you tie an overhand knot in it. That's it. That's all there is to it. I have just taught you how to do a perfection loop. Bite the line off like a savage, even though you got a pair of scissors right here. Now the part of this that makes it work for the reel is you take this end of the line that goes back to your spool and you push it inside the perfection knot that you just made. Like so, making a big knot like that. Cool. So I need to take this big knot, a loop that I just made, over the top and under. and then you pull it tight. And that's literally it. Then you put the cap back on. Now, I like to put my spool of line in a box before I do this. So I'm going to pause for a second while I find a box. Okay, this is awful big for what I'm doing. It's a box, it'll do. So you take your box, you put your spool of line in it, you close said box. That's key, you got to close it. Can't have an open box, it won't work. And once your box is closed, you set the box on the floor. See, now what I've got here is I've got the line coming out. Let me move that so that you guys can see too. I've got the line coming out of one corner of the box. You see that right there? So I'm going to put the box onto the floor. I'm going to place my very large foot on top of that box. I'm going to pinch the line just in front of the reel here, and I'm going to start reeling. And that's it. And I will reel until it's full. Now, putting the line in the box, and then putting the box on the floor and putting my foot on it does a couple things. One, I'm a cheap ass. I don't want to buy one of those things that you clamp to your table that you put your spool of line in and it keeps the tension and blah blah blah. This does the exact same thing. And that's the only reason. I'm a cheap ass. I don't want to spend the money. So anyway, I'm going to do this until it's full. I will save you guys the boredom, and I'll be back when it's full. And she's done. Voila! This is what I made before we started. Now, I was talking about when they made these in the early 80s, and it just so happens... Let me see if I can get that where you guys can see that. 1984. Means I was right, damn it! Anyway, it's completely full. Now, I don't know if I can get that where you guys can see that. These have these little slits in them where you can look in and see your line. I may have actually filled this one a little too full, but that's okay, because I can always cut that out. We're going to make another perfection loop on it. Ba-doop, ba-doop. We're going to take one end of that. We're going to put it around the handle there. And we're going to reel it till it's tight. Just like that. And that's ready for use. Alright, we're going to put it back on the rod. I'm going to take a good look at the rod here real quick. I've never actually had one of these cherry wood rods. It is also circa probably 1984. It may have actually been sold as a set. I don't know. But I know at around this time Zebco was doing combos with their own brand rods. But I have had Berkeley rods before, and they are very, very nice. And what I know about the cherry wood rods is that they have a very specific look to them, like that. And they were also one of the first rods that that bragged about being indestructible. Now I guarantee I can break this thing. I don't want to try. But that was their claim to fame in the 80s. This is a one-piece rod. Now, as I'm cleaning it, I'm also checking the eyes. This isn't just for show, basically. This is, and it is really, really structurally sound. I dig it for being damn near 40 years old. And I had that reel, not that specific one, but I had one of these Z20s when I was a kid. I remember it. And it was the exact same color. And I remember that thing was a bluegill slaying machine. And now that I've got it clean, see, normally I got a bucket full of soapy water out here, but I didn't plan that far ahead. So this one's going to be covered in spit. Saddle up that cowboy and I'll ride him until he spits. But anyway, now that it's all clean, and we can see the logo, I want to show you guys this. This is the famous Berkeley heart logo. Isn't that beautiful? So anyway, you guys want to come along when I go to use this thing tomorrow? We're going to go find someplace and, well, we're going to catch a shark or something with this. It can handle that. We're going to tighten that back down. Now, this style should come back. What this actually does, there's a little metal seat right there, and as I reel this, it pushes the seat down this way, and it wedges over top of the saddle on the reel. I may have said that backwards. I think this part is the saddle and that's the seat. Anyway, like I said, you don't want to horse it, just good enough to hold it down there. But anyway, I'm going to take you guys along with me when I go to use that. I got me a little GoPro. I'll wear that and we'll go play with something, and we're going to go catch us a shark or a whale or a tarpon or a marlin or, you know, one of them big fancy ocean fishes here in landlocked Ohio. And holy crap, I've been rambling for a half hour. You guys are extremely patient. I appreciate it. And we're done for now. We will pick this up tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.